So I'll just say hello to everybody. Thanks for dropping in to the house party, Lady Skollie's. So Lady Skollie, aka Laura Winvogel. So I'll be calling her Laura. You can call her Laura too.
You can call me Skollie. Skollie is fine. Just don't call me Lady.
Oh, just don't call you Lady. Okay.
Yeah. I had when people call me Lady. I'm like, really, Lady?
So we're just gonna talk through. I don't know. We're just gonna see what Laura's been up to and have a chat, because last year we were very lucky to be able to invite Laura over to make the big solo show at Eastside Projects, and it was incredible to host it, and we had an incredible response. People loved the work. They loved Laura. I did a
performance. I did my second performance of my life.
Yeah, and actually the year before, when we played, when we tried to get you over and we couldn't quite get you over, and then you sent a recording of you singing the song, and we played that in the gallery. That was amazing as well.
Yeah, eventually I want to drop an album, but probably like an album of covers or something.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So that's why you've just got the mic. So we're just gonna, we're gonna chat away for about half an hour or so. I'm just gonna say hello to Duncan, who I've just seen come in. Good to see you, Duncan.
Hello, Michelle Riley Jones.
People are still dropping in.
I love it.
So I don't know. So we're gonna. I just really want to get into all the new works, because the brilliant thing about how you operate is you're making things and you tease everyone and share little bits of all these incredible works that you're making.
Yeah. And I do it in a very low key way, so that it's not like, here is the work.
Yeah.
I think that song says it best. I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time. You know that song?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I just feel like sometimes I know when to share certain stuff about certain works. And yeah, I'm constantly making stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's in Johannesburg right now.
Hello.
Johannesburg.
Somebody else we need to mute them. Hold on a second. That's okay.
I love this. It's like we're in a room and everyone's just trickling in. It's the best. So now I like to first people, I think, because my work is very, like, even when it's 10% done, it overwhelms people a lot. So I don't mind sometimes showing works in progress, which is something I'm actually quite against. I hate seeing people's work in progress if you're showing tidbits of things that seem done. But I think my work has so many layers and it has so many things that happen that I don't mind showing little bits and pieces.
Yeah, because you just recently you did a couple of the Instagram lives, and you were just sitting in the studio working away, and and it was really calming and meditative to just watch you work.
I think one thing that's been freaking me out about this Corona and everybody starting to do lives is that it has a very similar thread where they go, hey, so like, yeah, like, we're gonna do this thing now, and then so it becomes more about the talking about what you're doing, and I think people get very distracted, and it's hard to shed your energy into so many streams at once, so you might as well just shed it all into one thing, and everybody just kind of has to follow suit.
Yeah.
Which is quite fun when I'm drawing. It's like a hypnosis, so everybody just ends up like like scratching with me.
That's what I learned working with you. I learned that when you were busy and you were doing things, and you would just be like, it's going to happen when it happens. I'm going to tell you what it is when it is. I'm going to give you the title when it's the title. I'm going to everything. And you always did. That's what's amazing. So
yeah, my friend Joe, he does a lot of my monotypes and lithographs and things, and he always says that it's called genetic spirituality. It's when you just get the feeling, especially with art, and especially with my art, I feel it's a very spontaneous thing. Mm-hmm. It happens quite fast, and that's not to say a lot of planning doesn't go into it, but there's certain things that I know, also having worked in a gallery, I know that there are some things we can push on, like titles and sizes and deadlines.
So I've seen this work evolving over the past couple of weeks or so.
Yeah.
Bits of it, and you sent me a few pictures of it when you were starting it as well. So tell me a bit about this, because you've got this This is the Hoodia plant that you're doing.
The Hoodia thing is interesting for me because I think a lot of people don't understand the origin of why I paint these Hoodias. And a Hoodia is pretty much kind of like a fat plant, like a cacti, like tough kind of plant. But historically, it's a plant that the Khoi and the San and the indigenous tribes of South Africa used to sustain them when they were hunting and when they were pursuing animals. It's like a type of plant that you can cut into thin slices and you can be hydrated and filled with it by just solely eating that plant. And so it gives you sustenance and you can pursue animals and you can do all of these things without having to, say, carry food. But do you remember in the early 90s when America had their weight loss boom and everyone was like, must be thin, you must be thin. So the legend goes that a bunch of Americans came to South Africa and they stole a big amount of this plant called the Hoodia out of South Africa because it's a plant that also takes 75 years to mature. So it's not something that you sprinkle some seeds and it happens. And so, yeah, apparently some people were paid very little amount that they had to divide into 11. And I guess I like thinking about different ways to oppress people, not just coming and making everybody a slave or putting in something like apartheid. It goes as deep as the actual plants of the place, you know.
So you think was that attacked early on as well then, that plant was taken away because it was a survival mechanism?
No, I think more the 90s is more a symbol of that happening. Because apparently it was 40,000 Rand that is divided between 11 or 15 people. And I think that comes up to like less than 200 pounds or like 120 pounds or something for something that basically is the reason why there was such a huge weight loss boom in America. And you see that type of thing also with like Ethiopia and Italy and coffee and how coffee is a symbol of cultural oppression or of colonization in a place that's never been colonized, like Ethiopia.
And is it also used as a drug or a hallucinogen in some way?
I'm not sure about that. I just know I once interviewed a lady, she's in her 90s now, and she, in her living memory, had that for 2 weeks, or as they say in England, a fortnight. They were just eating Hoodia in thin slices, and
This is cool.
I like those types of things, thinking about those types of things.
Yeah. And so what's going on in the drawing? Do you know, are you just drawing, or do you know what the final is?
Okay, wait, can I turn my camera around?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Oh my god, I'm so bad. Yeah. See, it's huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what are the pink parts? Just flowers?
Yeah, it's like when they flower, they give off these little pink, papery kind of flowers. I don't even know if I can see what you guys are seeing. Oh my god, she looks beautiful.
It does, really does.
Sorry,
I see a few bananas on the side as well.
Yes, I was gonna make it behind me, but then I kind of got distracted.
Are you gonna put them on the wall? Oh yes, I know them bananas.
So many of them.
But I just saw an image of.
I'm the queen of associative thought, so if you see bananas, you have to think of me. That's my.
Yes, I do.
My vibe.
I definitely do. I think in a way that's a little bit more about what I thought is interesting about all the works, because within the fruits and the plants and the animals, it's like I know that lots of them reference different positions of being gods, or they're like the way that they're used in relation to sex, or they also.
I just like that they are. We're so removed from nature in many ways, and I think. I don't know how to say it. I live in Johannesburg, and it's a city that's based on the discovery of gold. And I come from Cape Town, which is basically just beach life. And so coming here also was very difficult for me. I felt very away from land. I felt very away from just being able to enjoy nature. And sometimes when you live on the continent, you forget how blessed you really are. But then when you go and you travel to places like England or to America, and you understand how the diaspora is completely separated from land in a very clear, obvious sense, I think then you start to remember how lucky we are to be from here.
Yeah,
and having been able to remain here under very weird circumstances, but still.
Is that part of your, like an urge to connect then when you're showing the animals and the plant life? Because it's, in some ways, you know, they're quite conservative, quite traditional subjects, but when you use them, they don't seem like that. So they're still like still lives and
I think it's also because my work is so printily, like people see them in a world of their own because they're not very realistic. They look very painterly and printily, and I think why I like considering land and why I like considering these things is because I'm from, my origins are from the people who were most connected to the earth here. And then when colonization came, they were like the first people that were killed for intersecting land and running through farms and things like that. And that still happens today. And I think that's why I'm so interested in it.
Yeah.
And because of trance. And because the fact that the Koya and the Sun have so many stories, which is predominantly just about animals, even though the stories about your moral compass and how you find your space in the world. They'll often talk about people becoming animals and animals becoming people. And it's a very like, it's that type of line. It's not like rigid, like some Western culture.
That's the connection with the gods as well. So that they kind of understand their position in relation to gods.
I'm sorry, Kevin, I forgot how to speak. I'm in lockdown. I'm like, I've got the book. I've been in lockdown.
I want to know what the sunflowers connection was, because you had a big sunflower painting.
There's a place in South Africa which is ironic, very ironically called the Free State.
Yes, yeah.
You know the Free State, but it's also one of the most racist little spaces in South Africa. And so there was a young boy who broke his neck because he was trying to escape from 2 white farmers in the Free State. And it was because they said he had stolen sunflowers, so they were taking him to the cops. And it's also a very weird place, Free State, because often Black people get shot there. And then when they go to the cops, they'll say, oh, I thought it was a monkey that was running through my land. And that's like a normal thing. Like people accept that as an excuse.
Yeah, I remember.
I think I mostly wanted to do that work to symbolize that terrible thing that had happened.
Wow. Where is that? Have you still got that there?
Yeah. Should I bring it?
Yeah, come on, let's see. It looked amazing.
It's huge.
Because I was thinking you can't have shipped that out anywhere yet. There's no art fairs happening.
Let me get it.
Oh yeah.
Here she is.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Oh yeah. Because I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it finished like this.
Yeah, it's not finished yet. It's just kind of.
Yeah, but it's gone much further than when I saw it.
There's a little decapitated one here. You can see for scale how big this work is with my teeny tiny hand.
Yeah. I mean, were you also thinking about Van Gogh with this as well?
A lot.
Yeah.
Oh, and did you see someone walked into a museum and stole his work?
Yeah.
I wish that was me.
You have to keep those museums on their toes.
You're doing this thing. I'm so like excited for people to be owning a Van Gogh.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
You got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually just watched the film. I watched the Van Gogh film where Willem Dafoe plays Van Gogh. And it's really a great film.
My favorite ugly man.
Julian Schnabel made it.
What?
Yeah, so it's really like a proper painter's film, like really great insight into. I felt like I learned quite a lot about Van Gogh from it, and the idea of being a painter and being like his mind imagining that he's part of this universal energy coming down from the sun through him to share with the rest of the world, like this very intense kind of amazing experience. Really good.
So did you watch that new show called Midnight Gospel?
No, not yet. You mentioned it.
It's so crazy. It's about very famous people that are famous for weird reasons, like you wouldn't think about it. And then this guy goes and interviews them, and then he records the interview, and then they add very psychedelic kind of animation to it. And what you just said reminded me of the episode I watched last night, which is the 3rd episode, and it's about a guy who was wrongfully convicted of a murder and torture of a few children, and then he was in jail for 18 years, and then he got released, and he even talks about this like energy that comes from the top, and how it cascades through him, and how he at the end didn't even feel like he was in jail anymore.
Wow.
Anyway,
yes,
it's nice when you watch movies that make you see people that is so famous that you have an idea of them, and then when you watch the movie, it's a whole new concept.
Yeah.
Like it's like this book. Let me show you. Where the hell is this book? Oh, my friend gave it to me. It's John Berger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called The Success and the Failure of Picasso by John Berger.
Oh, right. Wow.
It's crazy. I started reading it, and it's like now I just have a complete new idea of Picasso.
How, like,
he was a psycho.
In Joburg, say, or in Cape Town, when you were studying and training to be an artist, and like, was Picasso seen as a pinnacle and like the person to aspire to be like, or was it just seen as like a tired old-fashioned thing, or was it not even really mentioned?
Something that's cool in this book is that it says if you know the name Picasso, but if you were to ask someone, oh, what work by him do you love? They can never answer you. And so I think that's kind of how Picasso is symbolized to me. It's someone that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Even people who don't know art. So for us, it was taboo at Michaelis to talk about Picasso. Everyone was like, oh.
Yeah. So
and to the person that asked, the book's name is The Success and Failure of Picasso by John Berger. A guy, there's a thing called Hot Days Cool Books on Instagram, if you want to check it. He gave me this copy, but I think he has more. So Hot Days Cool Books.
All the
that Gavin was also on.
Oh yeah, my book. Oh yeah, thanks for that. That was really nice.
Yeah. What else did we want to talk about? What have I done?
I want to talk about the animals, because I just saw that goat image. Is it a goat or a lamb?
No, it's a eland. It's an eland.
A yeland. What's a yeland?
Yeah, if you want to Google it, it's ELAND, like eland.
But it's a type of goat or sheep, is it?
No, it's like a type of buck, but it's like very integral in Khoi and in San history, because the animal does the same thing that Khoi San shaman do when they're in trance. So like lots of blood out the nose, blood out the eyes, like weird stuff like that.
Oh,
so,
wow.
but if you Google it, it'll say, just Google Khoi San and eland, and it'll show you all the connections.
And in the image, you have the one eland is sort of trapped in a cage with all the other elands on the outside that can't reach it.
Oh, that's the drawing you're talking about. Yes, that's actually a monotype.
The monotype, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I made that in January with other editions, and I don't know. I'm a very social person, and this lockdown has been very crazy for me.
Yeah, I bet. Well, it's interesting. You're sort of looking at that work and seeing it as a little prophecy or precursor to what was going to happen, and suddenly you are the eland.
I'm so glad I was watching Zombieland, I Am Legend, all these movies for the first week of lockdown. I really thought everyone was just going to come for me, and I'd have to like stab everyone with my porcupine quills. And then eventually I was like, oh, relax, Laura. And I was like,
that's the weird thing. Like, you can draw a plant, but it still has that energy about it. Like it's ready to fight, or it's ready to be attacked.
I think that's what sets me apart, is that my resting personality is just like all the time. And sometimes it helps you, and then sometimes it really just puts you on edge. But I think I'm fine now.
So would you say that just happens in your drawings just because it's you making them? It's just the way you express things. You haven't intentionally tried to make the drawing like the way that you do the black shadow pattern textures. Is that just?
I think I'm very frenetic, and it's something I've tried to train out of myself a lot. And yeah, I don't actually know how to describe it to anyone, unless you've ever had a form of like ADHD or hyperactivity, which I had when I was young. And I was thinking back now and seeing other people with children, I have to just shout out my parents, because I don't know how they survived. Really, like, there's a child that lives upstairs from me, and it just runs up and down in circles, like, and I'm like, what is this child doing in there? And then I'm like, oh yes, it's a child. And then I think of myself, of how I used to, literally, my parents used to let me run in circles, jump on trampolines, like, and I think my energy is just very frenetic. So whenever I sit down, it's never the same. And so I think building so many layers and doing so many things, it translates as energy, because there is so much energy in it.
Yeah.
And the energy is quite like scary. But I feel like I'm 33 this year, and this is the actual first year of my life where I feel I can control a bit.
That's great.
Also, someone asked here if the restrictions are worse than the UK. I wouldn't know, because I just know that we're not allowed any alcohol, any tobacco, any cigarettes, any clothing. There's nothing you can buy.
What, at the moment, you can't buy that?
You can't buy anything. No alcohol. So there's even like black market alcohol being sold. People are selling gin and tonic, but then it's vinegar. And you can't go and report them because you bought it illegally.
No, in the UK, it's like when you go to the supermarkets, the wine section has just been devastated. Everyone's buying so much in there. It's like the supermarkets are making a killing at the moment. Everyone's buying.
Because you guys have quarantine. You don't have lockdown, right?
Yeah. No, well, it is lockdown, but it's a very there's a lot of freedom within it. Yeah. I mean, if you are out without a good reason, without that being exercise, or that you're going to do something at work that you can't do from home, then they can fine you. You can be fined.
They can fine you. Yeah. Here, they're just pistol whipping people, throwing them in. Guys, it's crazy. People are looting in the hood. People are looting food trucks, because people just don't have money for food, because they work with day wages, and people are like, okay, cool, if you're not here for the day, you're not getting paid. So people are literally just tearing apart. Also, remember, we used to talk about toxic propaganda, and about people being paid in alcohol. So the craziest thing now is that it's finally showing, like, people's withdrawals. People are going through withdrawals, attacking liquor stores, looting liquor trucks on the side of the road. Yeah, it's so hectic.
Wow.
And then you get all these people going, oh my God, they're criminals. And I'm like, no, they're literally sick, and they've never had to not drink. Now people are not drinking.
It made me think a bit about the queues, the snaking queues that you the work that's on the coin, and the fact that that's like this another moment of waiting, like everyone having to wait and get in line and
like social grants and things. It's so sad. Everybody's having to like queue for social grants a meter away from each other. So the queues end up literally being like 2 kilometers. It's mess.
Yeah. But is that, I mean, imagine that's still, even now, I still see, you putting on your story on Instagram, other people still doing where the coins fall down in front of their faces, and people are still sending you messages about the coins.
Yeah.
And that
and also it was Freedom Day on the 27th. And so Freedom Day is what the coin was actually based on, because the 27th of April is the day where everyone voted for the first time democratically. And so a friend of mine, she lives in Paris, she programmed that filter. Did you know you could make an Eastside filter, Gavin?
Well, we need one. Yeah.
Exactly. You should hit my friend up. She did it without me even asking. She was like, I thought the SA Mint would maybe sue me. And I'm like, no, they want to know like how to do that, because I've never even known.
Okay, I'll hit you up for the contact after this.
But yeah, the coin is something that just changed my life. Like, it was like winning Miss South Africa or something. It was like, it'll never end because they made 10 million units of it. And it's a coin. It's like,
I mean, it's a type. It's a public artwork, isn't it? That just is everywhere that you can use, and you made it. You're the figure that people come back to. I mean, how did that?
Like, I don't even know what to do after that. I was like, my God, what? Like, what am I gonna do after making a coin?
That's why you wanted to take the year off.
Yeah, I was like, to let everybody just forget what I had achieved in 2019. 2019 was a lot. I'm so glad I did so much so that this year I don't have to do anything since we can't do anything.
What I was trying to work out is when you actually did the filming for the Queen Sono series, because you never mentioned
it in June.
You did it when?
In June.
See, you kept that secret.
Isn't that crazy? I did, but I'm lying. I didn't. I told so many people, but I told a specific few people, oh, guys, I'm going to be in like this thing. I never said what it was. I was like, this thing where I played Paul Tussi's mother. And everyone was like, what? You know Paul Tussi?
No. Is that who the character's based on?
No, Paul Tussi is my child in the show.
Ah, your child. Yeah,
but in South Africa, she's like a presenter.
She's a famous actress.
She's a presenter who kind of became an actress. And I most famously like her because she had 3 different looks on a condom wrapper. There were these government condoms called trust condoms. And I was like maybe 11, which means she was like 20 or 19. And she had 3 different looks on 3 different types of government condoms. Wow. And now she's like this huge star and I'm her mom.
I realized that she must be a famous actress. It's just that it's sort of interesting because, you know, knowing you and then seeing you on the TV show.
They're not an actress. They're more like South Africa is one of the main countries where I can say being a presenter can open so many doors for you. Like you can become a multi-millionaire. You can become an Oscar-winning actress from first being a presenter that reads a cue card like on a TV, like Cat D or whatever that lady is in your country.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering about that because that's on top of the coin and a great year of shows and artwork. So yeah, I imagine hiding away probably is quite a nice idea for a little bit.
Yeah. And I got married in secret.
And you got married, yeah. So that was pretty good. So I'm impressed by how much work you've been doing there because I just think it's brilliant seeing because I know how much, you know, once you are making things, they just come and there's so much there. So I
think it's more because I want to be here for a good time, not necessarily a long time. So I just feel like, you know, let me jam a lot of things in and we'll see where it goes. Like, yeah, maybe see you when I'm 50. I don't know yet. It's like, woo.
Yeah,
feels very long time.
Are you feeling like you've achieved quite a lot of things then, and that's changing how you think about what to make next?
I think that I like overachieving and I like making too much stuff and I'm like being involved in too much just because YOLO, like literally, you never know when it's the end. Or you never know when a pandemic might come and null and void everything you've ever done in your life.
Yeah.
And then you should have had all your fun, you know. After this, people are going to start saying YOLO again, like it's 2009. Like it's a whole new meaning now.
Second wave.
Second wave YOLO, dude.
That's good. So you haven't got. I was expecting.
Sorry.
I think at some point during the conversation, I wanted there to be a very large insect to arrive in the room and there to be a praying mantis here or something like that.
Oh no, she only comes sometimes. Gavin, let me tell you the story about why that praying mantis came into my house, right?
Yeah.
My neighbor had come to tell me to be quiet, right? Because I can't help it. I'm not made to live amongst people. I've been evicted in places, you know, it is who I am. But I've been very good in this building because I'm living amongst quite a lot of white people. And you know how they are when they can hear you're enjoying your life. They're like, So anyway, one day I was just sitting here minding my own business, singing, what was I singing? Oh, Jesus Christ Superstar or something like that. And then this lady came and she tried to tell me to be quiet. So I was like, firstly, it's Corona time and you're banging on my door. Then my husband was going towards the door like he was going to open it. And I'm like, leave it! You know, so she hears that and I just go, please leave my door. Like, just move away from my door. And then I had this thing inside where I just wanted to like text her, or I just wanted to like have a comeback, because that's how my personality is, like inflaming everything and everyone. But then I did this very revolutionary thing where I breathed deep. I put on gospel music and I was like, and I got a hold of myself and I calmed down and I didn't inflame the situation. And then all the windows in my room was closed, and then a praying mantis came in, and I was like, this is a reward for acting like a grown-up and not trying to bully my neighbor. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I was like, wow. Look at
And what it
me.
was, maybe it was more disapproval. It was coming in to
You know,
say,
and I
no,
was like,
you're meant to be the trickster. You're not meant to be calm.
no, exactly. But then I thought of my one friend who always says, you know what, Laura? Sometimes you can be Laura. You don't have to be Lady Skollie all the time. And then I was like, and then I got rewarded with a vision of the mantis.
That's nice.
So now there's power in being aggressive, but there's also power in taking a breath and stepping back.
Yeah. That's good. Good advice to yourself.
Thank you. I'm literally talking to myself. I'm telling this story to myself to remind myself.
Oh, I haven't even been looking at the chat. Loads of people have been writing stuff in the chat.
I know, but I don't know how to go there. So you have to.
You have to click on the chat button at the bottom.
Oh, where it says participation.
So there was a question about what technique do you use on this work that you're working on?
So I always talk about how wax and the resistance of wax is truly the beginning of art. And so for me, it's just layering, layering, layering. It's lots of wax. It's a lot of acrylic, drawing inks, color. I don't know. I love wax. Yeah.
But it's wax and then ink. Or and then what's that? That's a pencil crayon.
No, this is a China market, can draw on anything.
Ah, okay.
It's predominantly used to draw on film.
Yeah. China. Yeah. Okay.
Also, I've been doing such great little chats with kids, which has been really nice.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like upper class babysitting is how I would describe it. But I'm not getting paid, but I'm getting paid in having like talking to a child.
Yeah.
Because it's very fun to talk to them. So your friend Anya.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was her homies that called me the first time, and they live in the middle of nowhere, like in some farm rural area of the UK. And their children are just homeschooled and they know everything about art. The child was such a delight, and she was 10. And then I had another one 2 days ago. She was 7, a bit wilder in terms of, I understand now. I think my best art age to chat to kids is 10.
Yeah.
Like 7 is a lot. Shout out to everyone with a 7-year-old. Wow.
Heavy. But what you've been doing little art classes with kids in the UK?
Yeah, well, 2 so far.
Wow.
And it's really cool. It's making me do things that's not my work, but which then ends up being my work. So what I started doing was asking auction houses to give me catalogs. Like, you know, these kinds of like Strauss & Co., those types of catalogs.
Okay, yeah.
And then I just make, because obviously in a catalog, there's stuff like jewelry, there's stuff like furniture, you know?
Yeah, like
and so I've just been making these very like high-end, weird collages that I then draw afterwards with the kids. And then I get them to prep a collage for themselves. Yeah. So it's been quite like weird. I like being an art teacher.
Yeah. Right. I've got to kind of look at this, see what there were some other ones. 3 questions.
Yeah, ask me questions.
The second question was, do you think that the lockdown has helped you slow down, or has it still made you anxious as well?
It's made me wild, but I'm fine. I'm very gifted at daydreaming and being in my own head, and yeah, I feel more sorry for people that have to sometimes share space with me because it's very. I'm moody. But no, I can't walk at Emerentia Dam. I can't like run out all this excess energy. So I don't know what to say. Have you ever seen that meme where Ilana says, "How am I?" You know that meme? So that's just what I want to say to people. How am I? Like,
what do
how
I know?
are you?
I think we can tell.
I'm whining.
We can tell from the eyebrows and the jumper that you're wearing that you're in control of it. I think this is good.
Thank you. What other questions?
The third one is a film recommendation. It's called Genius Picasso, which they say is a great glimpse into his life. And Picasso is played by Antonio Banderas.
Okay, that's good. I love Antonio Banderas, especially when he was in Evita with Madonna.
Oh, yeah. I actually haven't seen that, but one day.
I've seen it at the play. I've seen it overseas in a play. I've got the soundtrack on CD and on vinyl. I love Evita. Evita Peron is one of my heroes of my life.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Andrew Lloyd Webber is the only reason I'm getting famous, so that one day, hopefully before he dies, I can meet him. Do you know how big Andrew Lloyd Webber fan I am?
I know you are, yeah. I know.
And he's the biggest private owner of pre-Rap Life Brotherhood Art. Do you know that?
Ah, yeah. I think you may be
the single private biggest owner.
Well, maybe we can find a way in for you then. I'll look into that.
Yes, please. Gavin, don't you know the Queen?
I don't know the Queen. But maybe I can mention it to his brother is based in Birmingham as well, so maybe I can mention it to him.
Is that his brother who plays piano? He's like a famous pianist.
I think he plays violin.
Oh yeah, sorry, he plays violin. I once saw him play at UCT. He came to the university and he randomly just played there, and I happened to be there because my sister was studying opera.
Yeah.
So then I just saw these random signs and I was like, why would no one have told me this? And I went.
Right, I'll keep it on my agenda in case the opportunity comes up.
Anyway, the reason I love Evita is because it's about a woman who kind of fucks her way to the top, but was a radio host and then becomes a model and then becomes into politics. That's kind of how I want to go too. So
yeah, that's cool.
The politics bit.
So someone's just enlightened us. He plays the cello, and then someone else. I like this one. They in lockdown they've fallen back in love with Andrew Lloyd Webber. Jesus Christ Superstar is genius. Well, I know you love massive fan. How many times?
I have 6 versions of it. One with children's drawings on the outside of the vinyl. My parents took me to see it 6 times when I was 9 years old. And it was played at the Nico Milan because my dad used to get previously disadvantaged tickets. You know how they used to do us coloreds. They're like, come to the theater. Here's some tickets, but you have to sit at the back. Anyway, we did that like 6 times. Jesus Christ Superstar is genius.
Someone else is showing off now. Michelle says that she met Andrew Lloyd Webber in London. That's just showing off. You know?
Oh, wow. Well done, Michelle.
We only want to know
so happy for you.
Number. That's what
so happy for you.
Let me see. There's might be something else. Do you ever use music while you are drawing?
Music.
Do you just have it on, or do you ever use it, like actually in the process of making any of the works? Or
yeah, I do. I have too much music. Oh, Gavin, guess what? This sounds like a made-up story, but an old white lady died, and she was kind of blind, so she couldn't like choose all her records. And then she used to hear her neighbor play music, who was a young guy from South Africa, and then she would ask him to come and play her music for her. And then she died, and her family came to fetch all her stuff, but they left her record collection. Look, I took So now I have a massive record collection.
Oh, what? I couldn't see what you were showing us. What were you showing us? All the records?
Oh, sorry, I'll show you now again.
I wasn't sure what I was looking at.
It's there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so now I have, and she even had another version of Jesus Christ Superstar.
On vinyl. That's really nice.
On vinyl, exactly. Oh, wait, let me show you something also, Gavin.
Yeah.
You know Lucinda Mudge? She's like a ceramicist from South Africa. Look at this crazy sculpture I got from her.
Oh, wow.
It's huge. For scale with my little hand.
That is fantastic. Where did you get that? From her?
We did a work swap. I almost said wife swap. We did a work swap. Because her work is very, very expensive. And now I don't let drunk people come to my house anymore. Because imagine if they knock that thing over. I'll be so sad.
Yeah. Oh, we can see other drawings as well there. You got a nice drawing there.
Here's a weird one that I did, which was, it's a weird one.
That's like a rainbow.
I'm deciding to be upside down or not. Maybe it should be this way.
Yeah, I like it like that.
And then it has a little sister that I made with it, which is like on red and crayon.
Whoa.
Yeah, they look like little talismans.
Yeah, well,
but it's actually a sculpture that I cut into pieces and then rebuilt, and now I'm just drawing it, but it was actually a collage. And then you know the burning bush that I love to do?
Yeah.
This is a monotype that I then built on.
Oh, wow.
You know when you build on a monotype?
Yeah, what have you done lino print on it?
It's sort of. I don't know really how to describe it. But you know when you do a monotype and then when you do a monotype again, it's called a ghost?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you do your one monotype, but then you can print on it again.
Yeah.
But then it's called a ghost.
And is that back at the same place where you made the monotypes that were in the show here?
Yeah, it's at LL Editions.
Okay, so because they really liked working with you. You've had a nice relationship with them.
Yeah, I love working with Joe from LL Editions, because whenever I go, he teaches me something, and he's a very like perceptive person, and he's very and he's a master printer. Like, he's a genius. I love him. Yeah.
Someone's asked a question: are you influenced by South African artists like Cecil Scottness? Cecil Scottness. Do you know that work?
Cecil Scottness is great. But yeah, there's so many old white people in this world. But he was a key figure of getting different types of people like Sidney Khumalo, you know, all types of artists that he discovered. His daughter was one of my lecturers. But I would say I'm more inspired by people like Helen Savidi, definitely.
Yeah.
She was also the first Black woman to win the Standard Bank Young Artist Award in 1989.
Yeah.
Then there's people like Dada, who was actually a Khoisan artist that designed the British Airways seats with Khoisan art, but she died hungry and poor and from cystic cancer and all of that. But she was a very, very famous woman as well. And then Kay Hassan, I love. Atipatra Ruga, Gabriel Goliath. Yeah, I try to not hang on to the people that I was pushed into when I was in art school.
Yeah, so that feels like.
I think I respect him for what he's done and all of that, but I wouldn't like list him as. Yeah. Look at me, Skollie beef.
I think it makes sense. You got to feel like sometimes, you feel that you've been wrongly influenced, or someone is sort of trying to take power over what you make because they made something in the past that they think.
I love that someone just commented and said that they love Gabriel Goliath's show. I love her. She's one of my idols. I think we do similar types of work, except her work is more about music, but it's also about trauma, and it's about violence against women, and it's about like always feeling like you're in a cycle of it, and how do you get that thing out? that show of hers in December, I think it's actually going to travel to Germany, if I'm not mistaken. But it's the show that she did when she won Standbank Young Artist, the Gabriel Goliath show in Cape Town.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that was
she's a genius.
where they mixed you up with her.
Yeah, oh yes, when she won Standbank Young Artist, the Swedish council congratulated me. Because I guess there can only be one brown girl with a shaved head. It's so unfair.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that when you were showing me lots of other artists' work and people that I've come across, and you know, I'm not very familiar with historical positions in South Africa, or even, you know, huge numbers of contemporary artists. So it was really great to have you doing that, and that you obviously there's people who you want to support and be connected with, and then there's others probably you want to keep away, don't want to be associated with as well. So I think that's right. Isn't
I just think South Africa is such a weird place. It's so complex, like the social structures, the classism, the racialism within every race. There's even so much colorism. It's just such a complex way of being that it must be very hard for people from the outside to try and even grasp what's happening when there's even a subsect of Black that don't consider themselves to be Black, and all kinds of weird complexities. But I think it's starting to even out in quite an interesting way.
Cool. Okay. And then a final question. This is a big one. Any advice for young artists in South Africa? And there is a sub-clause saying, or in the world, but I think it makes sense for young artists in South Africa because it's quite, because you are able to navigate all the different ways of positioning yourself and your work into the art world, into the world, advertising, fashion, TV, lots of positions. So what advice do you give to young artists in South Africa?
I would say just be consistent. Like, I don't know how else. I think that's some of the best advice I ever got. So everything I do is very much keeping in mind that I want to be consistent with what I put out, and I want to be consistent in how I put things out. I also love Ben Hawkins' work. Be consistent and don't lose faith. I think losing faith in art is a very easy thing to do. So you can be making art and thinking that you have to do whole bunches of other things to be relevant. And I don't think it's that. I think once you're very good at what you really want to do, you get acknowledged. And don't show people too much of your process.
Keep things.
Sorry, I'm so bad at giving that advice thing, because for me it's just research, be consistent, and research is so important. At the moment, we have a big spate of collage art that's been interesting for me to watch, because I like seeing patterns and like seeing what type of things come out in a pattern, you know? And one of the patterns I've been seeing is people are really not good at painting, so they're doing lots of other things, which is fine. Like me, myself, sometimes I don't consider what I do to be painting. But there's this weird thing of going towards brutalist art as a cover-up from not being able to paint. And I think that's a weird thing, because even to paint in a brutalist way, you have to know about light and about color and about texture and stuff. It's not just about doing something rough by putting in the most minimal effort in the sense of making it rough, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
But now I sound like someone who went to art school, which is so ironic, because I did not. I dropped out of art school.
Yeah, but you're right. It still does come down to some key things, which is just about knowing what you're about, in a sense. That research is just so that you can understand where you are and what you're doing, isn't it?
And also knowing what you're drawing inspiration from, because I think with the internet also we assume things to be done by other people, when in actual fact, like if you just read a book or you know what to Google, you'd know that there's artistic elements that have been happening over and over and over that you might not be aware of.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me, Bob Ross. I've been watching Bob Ross. Watch Bob Ross on Netflix. It's so nice.
Bob
Bob Ross?
Yeah, Bob Skollie Ross.
Yeah.
Middle
Do
name
you know he
Scott.
was a warden? I never knew that.
He's what?
He was a warden,
A warden?
like a prison warden. Bob Ross, you know the guy with the afro that paints?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a warden, and that's why he said he really applied himself to have that very soothing, soft voice, because all day he'd be around people being like, "Get up, you maggot," you know, like those types of loudness. And so eventually he was just like, "And here we go, mixing the blue," you know. But I would say watch Bob Ross and watch Midnight Gospel. It's so soothing.
Someone's asking about where they can find your work in Joburg at the moment.
You can find it from Everard Reed Gallery.
Yeah.
They are my representatives in South Africa. They are also the oldest commercial gallery in South Africa. They are only 1 year younger than the African National Congress.
And they have a gallery in London as well. They have a small gallery.
Yeah, they have a gallery in London and Chelsea, which is like a digital viewing at the moment. Yeah.
And then, but are there any wall paintings in Joburg or just in Cape Town? Because you've got.
Are there any more paintings?
Any wall paintings like murals?
Oh, murals. I'm like, it's something that I do and I feel like I want to do it.
Yeah.
There was one in KZN, which is now painted over. There was a few in Cape Town. There was a few in Joburg. But I like my wall paintings being like transient. I don't want them to last forever.
Yeah.
Next thing, people are having little fashion shows in front of them that I can't control. You know, that happened to my mural in Cape Town. People are like, "Oh my God, look at my like dress that I made from a plastic bag, like from reclaimed recyclable fabrics." And I was like, "Why is this happening? Like, why is my wall painting now part of your? Why?" I like controlling access to my work, so unfortunately, I don't think a lot of them are still in existence.
Cool. Okay. I think we're gonna let you carry on with a bit more drawing and.
Okay. It was lovely. Thank you for being the first person, other than my husband, that I've been talking to, you know, for a while. Thanks to everybody that came onto my first ever Zoom meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. It was amazing to see you, and I'll be in touch soon.
For sure. Bye, everyone.
See ya.